Hi guys, I'm Anita Manager and welcome back to Sip and Simmer. I know we all have our concerns and worries in life, but during the next 30 minutes we're here to drink, have a snack, and a good time. This episode we will be making cornbread, Mama's Dirty Martini, and a bonus recipe for the cornbread. If you would like to contribute to the production of Sip and Simmer, my Venmo is Anita_Manager. And all of the proceeds do go to all of the drinks and the food that we make all together. But first, Anita Minute. This is my favorite new segment. Okay. Today, I want to talk about trying something new. I know we're limited on new ventures that we can do, being stuck at home, social distancing, and not having our normal income. I'm talking about everything we do from our work to our social hangout spots, right down to our morning routines. It's easy to lose the joy in what we do in our day-to-day lives, but I believe the biggest enemy of joy is apathy. Apathy is the resignation or boredom or the lack of care that comes from letting yourself go onto autopilot. If you don't challenge yourself, if you don't turn off autopilot, you'll never experience the surprises and the joys of trying something new. Even if new things don't work out, at least you tried to change things up. Better yet, you'll have proven to yourself that you can do something new, and maybe even inspire yourself to search for something new that you enjoy even more. And just to be clear, the point of this conversation is not to make you feel bad, it's to inspire you. Having a comfort zone is super important, and it's a place to feel safe. But you should also go out there and try something new. You'll thank yourself later, more importantly, me, when you find some new things that you've tried one day and they could be your dearest hobbies. There's a ton of things that you can try tomorrow in the comfort of your own home without even having to leave the house. You can try planting, that's what I started doing. I took tomatoes and pepper seeds and I planted them in an egg carton and I've already got seedlings. You can try baking a cake and decorating it, obviously I like doing that. Or you can try refurnishing an old piece of furniture that you have at home. I've done that also. Just look at me. When I first met my husband, I couldn't even tell you the premise of RuPaul's Drag Race, let alone the names of any of the queens on the show. And clearly a few things have changed. And it's all because I let my husband talk me into trying something new, watching a show that I didn't even think I would like. So use this time you have at home to try something new, throw off your routine, shake things up a little bit. You might find something new about yourself. On that note, now that that's out of the way, I need a drink. Tonight, on Mama Mondays, I'm going to be doing a different martini every week. And I'm going to start with my favorite martini, which is also the easiest. It's a dirty martini. You need a martini glass. Now, usually I'll tell you that you can use whatever glass you want. I find it really important to use a martini glass when you're making martinis, because if you use vermouth, you can get way too much in the glass, and vermouth is absolutely disgusting if you use more than a teardrop. So, that being said, vermouth. I like green olives in mine. I've got a shaker with ice in it. I don't like a shaken martini, but I do like to shake the vodka so it gets nice and cold. And my best friend, vodka. Okay. So, in my martini glass, what I'm gonna do, because I typically waste a lot of the vermouth because I pour most of it out, I use the cap to measure out just a little bit, and I pour it straight into the bottom. And then I swirl it around a little bit. And then anything that isn't on the side of the glass, I'm going to dump out. Just like that. Okay, so then I am going to grab a couple olives. There you go, 3, we'll do 4. We'll do 3. Okay, so I put that in the glass. I get my shaker, and I put in a little bit of vodka just to fill up the glass. You know, when you're making a martini, the most important thing is what you put in the martini. That should be it for the first one. Okay. So I'm gonna put the lid on this, give it a shake, and because this is not a mixed drink and it's literally just vodka and ice, you don't have to go crazy with shaking it, it's literally just to get the vodka cold. So I'm gonna pour the vodka in my martini glass. These are really big martini glasses. We don't like waste in this house. And then what I'm gonna do is, because I like it super dirty, my martinis, I use a full tablespoon of olive juice and I just drop it right in the center. And that is Mama's martini. I'm gonna be honest with you, I could probably down 2 of these. I wouldn't do more than that. Oh my God, these are so good. You also wanna drink them slowly because, as you noticed, there's just vodka in this glass. But when it's nice and cold from the ice, it's not as sterile as vodka usually tastes. Plus, the salt from the olive juice, really, it's delicious. Okay, so tonight we're making my recipe for cornbread. Again, a lot of the recipes that I use I find online and I alter, but this is one of my personal recipes. I am going to get started with the recipe, but while I'm getting everything out on the counter, Casey brought up a very good point. I have been a bartender before. How many of you local people would like to see me behind the bar in drag at Troop? That's a good question. Alright, so I'm gonna get all of my ingredients out. And as everybody knows, I really do like to use my toys when I'm in the kitchen. I'll use my hand mixer, I'll use my stand mixer, I will use better verbiage next time I say this. But for this, you really don't need to go crazy and grab anything out. I'm just gonna use a bowl and a whisk. Cornbread is super easy. There's only a few ingredients. Well, there's quite a bit of ingredients, but it's very easy to get everything all incorporated. And my good friend that I was on the phone with earlier was going to the grocery store, Miss Robin Fierce, and she always calls me with her cooking questions. And funny enough, she's making cornbread at home also, and she knew my personal secret from her grandmother. So we'll get to that later. Okay, so here I have all of my ingredients. I've got a cup of flour, I have a cup of cornmeal, 2/3 of a cup of sugar, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, a cup of milk, 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil, and my secret ingredient is 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla and 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. A lot of recipes will call for vanilla, but I feel like the almond actually really does make a big difference. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna get all my dry ingredients and I'm gonna get them into my bowl. Now with this recipe, you can do it 100 different ways. If you really want that corn flavor, you can use corn flour, which is what I'm doing. If you don't have corn flour, because how many things do you use corn flour for except for making tortillas? You can just use regular all-purpose flour. So I've got all of my dry ingredients together. Perfect. And I'm gonna give that a stir. And like I always say, it's really important to stir your dry ingredients before you mix everything, so that way everything comes out nice and even. Okay. Alright. So that is all mixed. And now I have my wet ingredients over here. I have a cup of milk. That's a lie. I have 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil, a cup of milk, and an egg. So I'm gonna pour all of the dry, wet ingredients together. And I'm gonna stir that. Beautiful. Okay. If I could have a production assistant give me a little assistance, I would love to have some more milk. This is why getting your stuff together is important, because if you make a mistake, you can pay attention along the way. Alright, so I only had 1/3 of a cup of milk here, so I'm gonna pour this in, and I'm gonna get the other 2/3 of a cup of milk. When you're measuring wet ingredients, make sure that you put your cup on the counter and then you look at the line from there. If you're holding it up, you can be tilting it and you can get too much. And this is what you measure your wet ingredients in. There are different tools for different projects for a reason. All right, so we've got all of that together. So how's everybody doing tonight while I'm getting this all mixed in, huh? Did you guys have a good Easter? I know it must have been hard. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Thank you, Ellen. I actually just styled this girl today. I completely changed my look while I was doing my makeup because my makeup took a different turn and I wanted to make my hair match my makeup. The benefits of being able to style your hair on a mannequin instead of your own head. Okay, so as you guys have noticed, I did not put my vanilla or my almond in here. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Because once you get the almond and the vanilla in here, what you're going to do is you're just going to pour this into a greased pan and put it in the oven at 400 for 20 to 25 minutes. But taking out the flavor, what we're going to do, our second recipe, is we are going to make cornbread. Nope, this is cornbread. We're going to make corn dogs. You don't want to put the vanilla and the almond in this because it would not be a good combination with hot dogs, I think. Try it, let me know how it goes for you, but I'm not looking to throw away a whole bunch of corn dogs. When I was thinking about doing this recipe, I was thinking about the carnivals and all the fairs and everything that we're hopefully going to have at the end of the year, or end of the summer. How many of you have been to a carnival in the past couple of years? It's a lot of fun. I love going to them. I like going to them either with my husband or with my friends and picking out on all of the food. My favorite thing is either corn dogs or pizza frite, which is like the fried dough with sauce or powdered sugar on it. Does anybody have any other treats that they like from carnivals? There's one thing that I can't stand, and that is, what's it called? The sugar, whatever, the big thing with sugar. Cotton candy, yes. Gross. Hate it, don't like it, don't want any part of it. While my oil heats up, I'm going to take a sip of this martini. When I first started drinking martinis, I was out in the city, and it was the day after Pride, and all of the restaurants were closed, and I was starving, and I wanted something to eat, and I saw somebody had a martini, and there was like all this embellishment in the martini. There was olives and onions and all this other crap, and I was starving, so I ordered a martini just to get all the stuff that came with the martini, and that's when I fell in love with martinis, and I've been drinking them ever since. And how fancy do you look just holding a martini glass? Well, maybe somebody else does, but I digress. So, what I'm going to do here is I have regular hot dogs that I cut into 4s. So I cut each hot dog 3 times. So they're like 1.5 inches. I'm going to get my YouTube hand out. So they're like 1.5 inches long. I don't like making them full length at home because you need to use a ton of oil, and they also take forever to cook and you end up burning them. Thank you, Hazel. This is my new mug. Soak it in. It's great, right? Yeah. Okay, so my oil is just about done. The way that I like to test my oil is I'll take a little bit of what I'm using, and I have like a toothpick here, and I'm gonna just put it in the oil. If it starts to sizzle, that means it's ready. If it doesn't, it's not, and it's not. So what I'm gonna do here is I am just going to take that Q-tip, toothpick, and I'm gonna swirl the hot dogs in the batter, and then I'm going to put them on a plate that I don't have ready. Okay, so I'm gonna swirl them around, and then I'm gonna let them sit for a second. You can coat these in flour if you want, and then dip them and put them in the refrigerator for a second, but nobody has time for that. So it's super simple. Just swirl it around enough just to coat them, just like that. And then use your tongs to slide it off, and that's it. So I usually like to get about 4 or 5 prepped on the plate. And then I will put them into the oil. You want to make sure that you are ready and you are working quick because these burn in the back of an eyelash. See, I said eyelash instead of eye because I'm wearing false eyelashes. You see what I did there? It's cute. So, to be completely honest with you, talking about Drag Race a little bit earlier, I have never auditioned, I've never sent in a tape, and I've always said that I don't think that the end-all be-all is Drag Race, or whatever job you're talking about. Looking for somebody else's approval I don't think is that important. Obviously, looking for other people to validate what you do is important, and it does build your self-esteem, but I would apply in the future maybe, but right now it's not my thing. But who knows? Alright, so my oil is popping, so I'm gonna drop these guys in. Alright, so right now I have 5 in there. I'm not going to do too many because A, the hot dogs just came out of the refrigerator and they're cold. So it's going to lower the temperature of the oil and it's going to make the inside stay cold and then the outside hot. So it's super important that you keep an eye on them because the batter will also come right off of these guys. So in the time that it takes for me to rotate them, I can get another 5 done. And when I'm in the kitchen, for me, it's like super important for everything to have like a flow because I'm in the kitchen a lot, like all day, every day, even before Sip and Simmer. And I love being in the kitchen, but also I want to make sure that my work is done and it's done quickly. Thank you, Casey. I would enjoy it, I'm sure, because who wouldn't like to have people looking at you and cameras following you? But also, I'm good for now. Alright, so I'm just gonna flip these over. Oop. And I'm gonna turn my oil down. Alright, I've got one more that I gotta do. Okay. Beautiful. So with my my posts after the show where I put the recipes, I'm also going to post a picture of what I looked like a year ago in comparison to what I look like today. Because let me tell you something, a year of practice can get you a lot of places. And that also goes with what I was saying earlier, to switch up your routine, to try things new. I would say, honest to God, every time I'm in drag, I do something different. And I think it's really important to continuously change and grow because if not, like I said, you're just being stuck in the same place, you're back on autopilot, and who doesn't want to grow, right? Okay, so in my house, my husband can cook. And one other person likes cooking. My sister, she can cook simple things, you know? Sienna's trying. Nick boils pasta and puts a handful of garlic powder on it. He calls that cooking. So, you know, everybody has different levels that they're comfortable in the kitchen, right? Alright. You are the person that I said can cook. Greg knows how to cook. Speaking of Greg knowing how to cook, He is going to be my special guest on Wednesday. He is our resident nurse, killing it out there. Well, that is the wrong term to use right now. He's doing his best to accommodate all of his patients right now, and he is still working, and we really appreciate everything that he does and all the other nurses out there. Okay, so there is one thing that I did forget to mention that I'm noticing right now. After you mix the batter, before you put the hot dogs in, you want to let it sit for like 10-15 minutes. These are still going to taste great, but the batter is like oozing off of them. I will make sure that I put that in the recipe because I completely forgot. I made these earlier today. Oh, they were so good. Okay. So I've got the final ones in. And I will show you how we're going so far. They are a little overdone, just a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But they're still gonna be delicious. Corn dogs are the only thing in this world that deserve yellow mustard on them, okay? So, while I finish up these, I am going to say again that I really appreciate all of you coming out every day, or more importantly, I appreciate all of you for staying in every day and stopping by my Facebook page and spending time with me and my guests and paying attention to the recipes. And I'd love it if more of you would make the recipes at home and post pictures on my Facebook like Kaylee has done. And my Venmo, one more time, is Anita_Manager. And like I said before, all of the proceeds from that do go to all of the recipes that we make, all of the drinks that we make together, and that's about it. We are actually having these corn dogs for dinner, so I'm going to continue making these, and I will see all of you tomorrow on Tuesday with my guest Sienna. We will be back here tomorrow at 8 p.m. And if anybody is curious, this is what the cornbread would look like if I had put it in the oven. And I will make sure that I post both recipes on the post after the show. And thanks again for coming in, guys. Have a good night.